commission-only employees I wanted to talk about. This is almost a daily question we have, and there's so much confusion around this. So as the property industry, we're pretty much the only industry left with commission-only employees. So we've got an award, and it has included some specific requirements around this category of employment. Now, the core requirements are commission-only employment is for any type of employee. When it first came out a couple of years ago, it was just for full-timers. That's been changed. Now, there's a full-time rule around it, but it can be full-timers or part-timers, okay? So we'll come into how that fits in a minute. So it's for anybody working in the industry. Obviously, it fits for salespeople. There's not a real way you can look at commission on property management unless it's about new business development or something. Okay. Anyone going on to commission-only employment has to be over 21 years of age, and they need to obviously hold their license or a certificate of registration, and they need to agree in writing, so that something needs to be something actually signed, that employee agrees to being paid on a commission-only basis. Okay, the person must have been working as a salesperson in the industry for at least 12 months during the last 3 years. So it's not that they did it 15 years ago. It's not that they did it 5 years ago. It's they must have been doing it for 12 months in the last 3 years. They also must meet the meter, which is the minimum income threshold amount. Okay, the MITA test, where they earn 125% of the award rate. Okay, so in a year. So they start on commission only today on the 1st of July, let's say. And by the 30th of June next year, they need to have earned 125% of the award amount. So let's look at that. It's around about just under $54,000. Okay, that's 125% of the award rate. Now, the person must have met that meter test in that 12-month period during the past 3 years. So they need to have earned that $54,000 in that time that they've worked before. So they need to prove that they would have been able to earn that, and they can do it on a commission-only basis. Now, if they actually fall short of meeting the meter, they're no longer eligible to be employed on a commission-only basis. Obviously, an employer can boost that up and make sure that they've earned that amount of money if they want to continue on that basis. Now, that amount doesn't change. If they're part-time, it doesn't mean that amount gets prorated to their part-time hours. It is still that same amount, 125% of the award rate for a full-timer. So whether they're part-time or whether they're full-time, the actual 125%, that 54,000-ish, doesn't change. Remembering that, the next change to the pay rates will be, I think it's scheduled for 1st of November this year. So we've got a few months before that comes in. So that needs to be met. The employer needs to, and on the way through, the employer needs to withhold allowances for personal leave, annual leave from the commission payment, and only pay that when the person actually takes their leave. Obviously, superannuation is calculated as they go along as part of that commission-only payment, because remember that you, as a commission-only, you are still an employee, and the employer actually needs to treat you as an employee and pay all of those entitlements. But how they pay that needs to be done when you take that leave. For superannuation, obviously, when you earn that money. So these are quite significant changes. Now, they've been in for, a year and a half, or actually, no, a bit over that now, and they need to be considered by both sides, and seriously considered by both the employer and the employee if you're actually going to meet those requirements. Being a commission-only employee is quite different from being an independent contractor. One's an employee, one's an independent contractor. Best place to find out whether you're eligible to be an independent contractor is hop onto the Revenue New South Wales website and do the independent contractor test. And if you think you want to trade as an independent contractor, do that test, change your variables on the way through and see whether you come out as a yes or a no. It's a fantastic test to actually see. And if you're an employer, you should be sitting with somebody who wants to be an independent contractor, and then you need to go and get, as an employer, you need to go and get legal advice in terms of having a proper independent contractor agreement. Remember, that's not something that REEF offers, because REEF is about, the Real Estate Employers Federation. That's about your employee, an employment relationship, not an independent contractor relationship. So quite different things. So to protect your business, and as an independent contractor, to protect your business, you actually need that legal backing to all of that.